thank you for the introduction. Ben and Marcy, thank you for opening up your home to us, bringing all of us together. To the rest of the host committee that made this possible, thank you for your work. It's really wonderful to see so many people coming together and so many people becoming a part of something that's so special in Texas right now. And it really helps me to understand that this is not about a candidate, and it's definitely not about a party. And it may not even be about an election. This is the most divided and polarized that this country has been in my lifetime. I'll be 46 next month. And maybe for those who are older than I am, maybe in their lifetimes as well. And everywhere I go across Texas, from my hometown, just 12 hours west on I-10, to Houston, to Texas City, where we had a town hall last night, to Beaumont, where we had a town hall the night before, to Missouri City, where we had a town hall this morning, to each one of the 254 counties. We see people in rooms like this, and in rooms much larger than this one, and in rooms much smaller. We had a town hall meeting in Ira Ann, Texas, with 12 people who came out. To the best of our knowledge, the first and maybe will be the only town hall held by a Senate candidate in that community. But we never ask party affiliation. We never ask religion. We never ask immigration status. We really don't want to know about any of the differences that may exist among us. We really just want to know that you're here, that we're all in the right place, that before we're Republicans or Democrats or even independents, that we're Texans, that we're Americans, that we're human beings. And everywhere we go in Texas, and we've been to all 254 of those counties, the biggest of cities like Houston, the smallest of towns. We were in Loving County in Mentone, Texas. Loving County is the second smallest county in the United States of America. And I knocked on the doors in the county seat in Mentone. I knocked on all 19 of those doors. Got a chance to listen to those that I want to serve and represent in the United States Senate. And it is so rare that people tell me what they're against. It's very often the fact that they are excited about what they're for, the things that they want us to achieve. And it just reminds me that this country really is at its best. We are at our best when we're ambitious, when we're aspirational, when we're defining goals that we're only going to be able to achieve together. This current period of fear, I really hope is an anomaly, that we don't see this again, that it'll be resigned or consigned or left to the history books for our kids to read about this year when they were talking about and began construction on a 2,000-mile wall, 30 feet high from Brownsville, Texas to San Diego, California, to try to shut us off from a country with whom we are not at war, where we are seeing the lowest levels of northbound apprehensions since 1971, the year before my birth. And we know full well who it is that we're apprehending right now. Very often it's children. If they're lucky, they are children with their moms, maybe with their dads, who are leaving some of the deadliest places on the planet today, the Northern Triangle countries of Central America, doing what any human in their same place would do. I know that's what Amy and I would do if we were in their same position. If that was the only way that Ulysses, who's 11, Molly, who's 10, Henry, who's 7, if it was the only way that we could save their lives or offer them a better life, if our government could not protect us, I mean, tell me that that's not the story of this country. 5 generations ago, the O'Rourkes left famine in Ireland. No other country would take them in because they were smart enough to know not to take us. Right? But we persisted, we showed up, and from Missouri to Nebraska to Tucumcari, New Mexico, my great-great-grandfather was working, building out the railroad to El Paso, Texas, this railroad hub at the end of the 19th century. That's where we started our life in this country. And that's true for folks here who go back 10 generations, folks who showed up last week. We are a country of the people of the planet, and we found a way. Our genius is that we all come together here, and it's nothing to be afraid of and nothing to wall off, nothing to militarize, nothing to vilify people about based on where they're from. No reason that a 3rd grade girl, and I just met another amazing 3rd grader, should come to me at LBJ Elementary in El Paso last year in February and ask me, because she's Mexican American, Why does the president not like her? And is she in the wrong country? And does she belong here? And I just think how profoundly messed up that is, and what that must do to her conception of herself and her place in this country and what she's supposed to achieve. And our loss, right? Not just hers, if she's not able to live to her full potential and contribute with everything that she's got, her genius. We want that here in this country. I told that story in Houston the first time I visited during the campaign, and a couple pulled me aside and they said, that story resonates with us because our daughter came home from school. She's also in 3rd grade, but we're not Mexican American, we're Muslim, and she wonders if we shouldn't go back to where we're from. And she said, Mom and Dad, I was born here. You all were born here. Where are we from if we are not from this country? This fear, this littleness, this pettiness, this paranoia, frankly, this hatred and this racism that will define this moment if we allow it, can be met with all of us, with Texas. And it's not going to be Democrats. And it won't be Republicans. It's got to be all of us. And it's got to be not who we're against, but what we are for. And to replace the walls and the militarization and the taking babies from their parents, I want us, and the city of Houston, the most diverse city in the most diverse country, in the most diverse state, should lead the way, rewriting our immigration laws to reflect our reality. In El Paso, Texas, Mayor Tilney knows this, we are a city of immigrants. We're 1/2 of the largest binational community on the face of the planet. And we also happen to be the safest city in Texas, the safest city in the United States of America, not in spite, but because of the fact that we are a city of immigrants. And people left their home, their family, their language, their culture, their country to choose us. They could go anywhere, and they decided to come here. And they've made us stronger and more successful. And yes, and we've all got to repeat this and know this and internalize it. They've made us safer by their very presence. And so out of pride, out of ambition, out of the best in us, not out of fear, we should rewrite those immigration laws to reflect our natural competitive advantage that we have here in this community and in this state. I was at the Harris County Jail yesterday as a visitor, just taking and Sheriff Gonzalez was taking me through with pride some of the cells, some of the treatment areas. Got to meet with some of the healthcare professionals who work there. 10,000 inmates, more than 1/4 of them are prescribed at least one psychotropic medication. There are more mental health care beds in the Harris County Jail than there are in all of the public mental health care facilities in this state rolled up and combined. The largest provider today of mental health care services in the state of Texas is the Harris County Jail. Here's what it costs you, the taxpayer. $87 a day per inmate, pre-medication. That's for the Cheerios in the morning, the gown that they wear, the bed that they sleep on. When you add prescriptions, when you add health care, when you add care for those who got arrested on purpose because there was nowhere else for them to go to, it's upwards of $400 per inmate per day. I would love for Texas, which is today the least insured state in the United States of America, which understands the consequence of that failure of a policy that may or may not even be penny wise, but is definitely pound foolish, where people are leading diminished lives, where people are leading lives unnecessarily cut short, where we have people taking their own lives because they can no longer bear to be alive and they cannot get the treatment that allows life to be bearable. We could be the state that leads the way in guaranteeing universal health care for every single one of us. And not only will that be better for those who are denied it today, those inmates that I just met who got arrested on purpose for their schizophrenia, for their bipolar disorder, it's going to be wonderful for all of us. All of that economic potential literally locked up right now, allowed to find its highest and most effective place in this community, in this state, in this country. The families that will be raised, the jobs that will be worked, the taxes that will be paid, the burden that will be shouldered so it rests a little bit lighter on everyone else. All of that is possible, and it's to everyone's advantage if we lead the way. Again, Democrats cannot do this. Republicans cannot do this. We, the people of this state, can do this. On any challenge that we face, I say we turn it to our advantage. You know climate change better than perhaps any people in this country. 58 inches of rain is the landfall record in recorded history in North America, and it hit this community. And visiting Rockport and Goliad, going to places like Victoria and Port Arthur and Beaumont and Nome and Orange and every single part of Harris County and Fort Bend. And going to places in Kashmir Gardens that have not been rebuilt yet. There's plywood on the windows, there are sofas and plywood, drywall and carpet piled up in the front yard. We understand the consequences of climate change, not something that's going to come, something that is here. Those storms like Harvey will be more severe, they will be more pronounced, they will be more frequent, they will further undermine our ability to call this place home, at least for human beings. And it's much the same story, just on the other end of the rainfall spectrum in North Texas, in the Panhandle, and in West Texas. We were with a cattle rancher in Wellington, Texas, what you all call West Texas, which we in El Paso call East Texas. And she told me that it had not rained since October of 2017 on that ranch. Now, in October of 2017, they had just emerged from 5 years of drought. And if you look at a drought map of Texas, most of the state, it looks like from the colors that you see, is under drought conditions right now. Just like it'll be harder to live here in the future, it'll be harder to grow cotton, to raise cattle, sorghum, pecans, corn, wheat, you name it. We grow the food and the fiber that feeds and clothes the world right now, drives so much of this economy. We will no longer be able to do that. So meeting that not with fear, but with ambition, with confidence, with strength, with boldness, let's own the fact proudly that we are an energy producing state, and we can continue to produce the energy that the world literally runs on responsibly. We can work with industry and government alike to make sure that we have the regulations, the oversight, the accountability, the level playing field that everyone in industry and in the public wants. But that we also seize this advantage that Texas today is #1 in the country in the generation of wind power. We soon could be #1 in solar and in geothermal. The two fastest growing jobs in all of the United States of America today are in wind and in solar, and Texas can claim them. We can both save the planet from warming another 2 degrees Celsius, after which those who succeed us on this planet will no longer be able to live here. It's questionable how much longer human existence will be possible. But we can also, beyond avoiding that existential threat, we can also make sure that we create the jobs, grow the economy, provide the opportunity that this state should be able to lead in. So whatever the issue is, whether it's those that I've just raised, whether it's something else that brought you here today, I am convinced that we will be able to do this together. I'm convinced that we must do this together. And what you are making possible and the way that you have helped us to run this campaign shows that not only are we running in the right way, going to all those counties, raising money, not a single dime from a single political action committee. I'm talking none of them, not corporate PACs, not union PACs, not NRA PACs, not the Sierra PACs, no PACs at all. All people, all the time. And here's how it works. In the last 3-month FEC reporting period, Ted Cruz, from PACs, from those he cultivated in his run for the presidency, raised $4.4 million. In that same time, without a single PAC contribution. Average contribution, in fact, $33, 215,714 individual contributions in just one 3-month period, most of them from Texas. To his $4.5 million, we raised $10.4 million. To make sure that everyone is invited into this campaign and into this moment, and that we win the right way, and that we also, over the next 6 years, deliver on the very high expectations that we are setting with, by, and for one another. So thank you for helping to make this possible and inviting me to be with you here today. I am grateful. Thank you all so much.